Hi, my name is Emily Zorzonello, and this is my father, Peter. And in today's video, we're gonna tell you what happened to make me die for 23 minutes. If you have not already seen my previous video, giving a brief summary, I'll link it down below in the description box for you to watch later on. But in today's video, we're going to tell you exactly what happened leading up to me dying. So I don't really remember what exactly happened. I have no recollection of that weekend itself, but I've been told multiple stories, so I know what happened to me, but I don't personally remember. So today I have my father here to help explain what really happened. So Dad, let's get into it. So what happened in your words, of course, from the beginning, so the weekend?
From the beginning. Well, it really started on Friday. This happened on Sunday, but it started on Friday.
Yeah.
You went to pick up your prescription of Xanax, and in the
I got it refilled.
And in the afternoon, I lost my Xanax. I can't find it. It got stolen out of my car, and I was like, I feel bad now, but I was like, you know, you're 22 years old, you know, you need to take some responsibility. You know, you got to find out what you need to do. I'm not going to, get involved. You have to contact your doctor and find out.
Yeah.
So that was on Friday.
Yeah.
So on Saturday, I called you for lunch.
Yeah.
And
where were we gonna go?
We weren't going anywhere. I made you something. I don't remember what I made you, but I made you something. So when I called you and you came into the kitchen, you looked like you had been drinking, and it was only like 11:30, 12 o'clock. So I asked, I said, have you been drinking? And you said, no, why? And I said, you just look funny. And I said, let me smell your breath. And you breathed on me, and I didn't smell any alcohol, so I didn't think much of it. I just thought maybe you slept in late and you were still a little drowsy. So you had lunch, and that was about it for Saturday. So then the third day,
the following day, Sunday, November 19th, 2017, when I died, what happened that day?
Okay. So on Sunday, we were all going over to your uncle's house to watch the football game because
the
Patriots, that's right.
Yeah.
Because we weren't going to be together on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to go, partly because didn't think that your uncle and the rest of the family liked him. So you guys stayed home.
Yeah.
Around 7 o'clock that night, when we were getting ready to leave, we got a phone call.
Yeah.
From or your mother did.
From him.
It was from him, yes. And what he had said was that you were in the hospital.
Did he say how I got there?
He did not. He just said that you were in the hospital and that you had overdosed. And at that point, we hurried up, got our stuff together, and we ended up driving home because he wanted us to stop home to pick him up.
Yeah, because he didn't drive. He had lost his license.
And then once we got home, picked him up, we asked what happened. He said that he was coming out of the bathroom and saw that your lips were blue, and that he ended up calling the ambulance.
Oh, did he say what I took?
He did not.
Okay.
So he said he could.
So he said he called the ambulance from our house, right?
He didn't say specifically
He implied it,
that.
though.
Well, that's what we had assumed.
Okay, yeah.
We assumed that he came out of the bathroom,
Yeah.
saw that your lips were blue, and called the
Yeah.
ambulance from our house.
Yeah,
So then we got to the hospital.
yeah.
By then, you were already in the ICU. So they had moved you
Okay.
from the emergency room
To the
to the ICU. All right.
So about how many hours has it been, or at this point, do you think it only happened shortly before?
Well, this was about 8 o'clock, so we figured that this happened around 7 o'clock.
Yeah, okay.
The doctor comes out to meet with us
Okay,
and says that we'd be able to go in a little while, but she wanted to talk to us.
yeah,
They were just settling you in.
yeah,
So what happened was we ended up talking to the doctor.
yeah,
The doctor said to us that,
Yeah.
you know, that the ambulance had to pick her up at CVS. And we had said, what are you talking about, CVS? You know, we thought that the ambulance came to the house and picked her up. He goes, no. At 5:30, the ambulance went to CVS and they worked on her for about 23 minutes. She was not breathing.
yeah,
And at that point, said, oh, well, yeah, I know what a overdose looks like, so I took her to get Narcan.
No, he took me to get Narcan, not the Narcan. And I guess Narcan doesn't work on anything besides opioids. So just so everybody is aware, it does not work on benzodiazepines, which is what the Xanax is classified. Continue.
That's right. So the doctor also did not sound hopeful. She had said that there was a very good chance that you could die, that had told her or told them that you had 80 milligrams of OxyContin. And it turns out there was no OxyContin.
Yeah.
But they made it as a really big, grim outlook.
Prognosis.
And as the night progressed, and I asked her, the doctor, what's a normal dose of OxyContin? She said they give between 1 and 2 milligrams. And
to cancer patients, right?
I don't recall if she said cancer patients. She said that when they prescribe it, they normally prescribe 1 to 2 milligrams of Oxy.
Said I took 80.
And yes,
what
he
the
said
hell?
he had said you took 80.
And I know that I would personally never take OxyContin. I know that opioids are horrible for you, and I would never go near those for any reason that is not prescribed to me.
So we ended up going in to see you, and they're running all kinds of tests.
What did I look like?
You just laid flat. You weren't moving at all.
But did they have things hooked up to my head?
They had nothing hooked up to your head. They did have monitors on you. They did have, I believe, a breathing tube down your throat at the time.
Yeah.
And they were doing tests.
Okay.
They sent out for a blood test. The blood test takes either 24 or 48 hours.
Yeah.
They had to send it to a lab. I don't know why they don't do it right there in the hospital, but they had to send it out. But in the meantime, they also did a P test. And that
comes back a lot quicker, right?
It does. They got it back that same night.
Okay.
And they said that all that was in your system, they said, what should be in your system? And we said Xanax. And
I also had an Adderall prescription for school, but I didn't take it every single day, so for some reason no traces of it showed up in my system.
Yeah, there was no Adderall in your system.
There was only marijuana and Xanax.
Yeah, that was it. That was the only two things that were in there, was the Xanax, which is the benzo, and the marijuana. Now, at the time, the nurses in the ICU said, the benzo could be masking the opioid.
Oh, really?
We don't know for sure,
okay.
and we'd have to wait for the blood test to be absolutely sure, but it doesn't look that way.
Okay.
And it turned out that that was the case. There was nothing, there was no traces whatsoever when the blood test came back of having any type of opioid in your system. So he was just making things up. So when we were in the ICU unit, it was me, your mom, and the doctors and nurses. Was trying to give the nurses some ideas of what to give you.
Yeah, for what?
to help you.
To help me do what? Come out of
to help to help you recover, and he was suggesting some medicines. And the nurse said no, that won't help her at all.
Then the nurse brought you and Mom in the hallway, right?
Yes. The nurse brought me and Mom in the hallway, and he was talking to us, and he had said that talking about thinks he knows more than he actually does. Yeah. And he mentioned the medicine, I forget what it was that he had suggested, and he said it won't help at all. Yeah. And he also said that giving the Narcan
to me,
Narcan to somebody who is not overdosing on an opioid but on a benzo had no effect. It wasn't going to help you. It didn't hurt you, but it didn't help you. And that if anything, you know, he would have been better off calling the ambulance immediately instead of putting you into a car and driving you to CVS.
That was extra time wasted, right?
That's right. It was extra time wasted, and that's when you stopped breathing, was when you were at CVS, not when you were at home.
So now said that I walked out to my car, right?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Yeah, but I thought he told Mom, like...
He did.
That I was in the closet and that he had picked me up and walked me out to the car and was talking to me the whole way to CVS. And I guess when he went into CVS to get the Narcan, when he came back out, he saw me like slumped, like in a not breathing position, according to my mother.
Yeah. Like I said, that was...
We don't really know because I don't remember, and they went there, and his story kept changing. Yeah.
Again, like I said, the story kept developing. Yeah. Because... Again, originally we thought that the ambulance came to the house, and we were surprised. We asked, "What are you talking about, CVS?" And we were surprised that it happened at 5 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock.
And he didn't call you all the way until 7.
Yeah, he didn't call until 7. So like, I still think that
if it happened to him, I would have called the 911 first, and then his mother first before calling my parents. But instead of doing that, he called his mother and then waited hours to call my parents.
Again, I mean...
That's what he told me.
Well, I'm just happy, like I said, that
I'm here, but continue.
So that was how you got there. Yeah. And then that night, they had told us that they wanted to basically induce a coma and lower your blood your temperature, your core temperature down to, I think it was 91 degrees.
Did they get me all the way?
No, well, they did, but they had to raise it a little bit.
Why?
Because you were starting to shake, and you were starting, the machines were starting to go a little wonky. Yeah. So it was too cold for you. Yeah. The idea of lowering your blood temperature was that it was to try to protect the brain from swelling.
Yeah, because and to preserve whatever brain functions and stuff I had left.
Yeah. And so that's what they started to do. We gave them permission to do that. Okay. And it was about a 4-day process, they said.
Okay. So it was about a 4-day coma. And during this time, what happened?
Okay, so not much.
I remember Mom saying that the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, so well, like 3 days into the coma, she was there with one of my aunts and my grandmother, and they were saying that I was making noises over my breathing tube, right?
Yes. What happened was the first couple of days, all right, so Monday and Tuesday, you were just non-responsive, just lying there.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, that was the day they were hoping that you wake up. They said it could take up to 24 hours for you to wake up.
So that's the day they stopped giving me the coma medicine?
Well, they start reducing it on Tuesday.
And what did they give me to do the coma?
It's that white stuff that Michael Jackson took.
Propanol.
Yeah, Propanol.
Yeah, okay. So the stuff that Michael Jackson died on, they were giving me to put me into the medically induced coma.
That's correct. And once they stop doing that, it takes up to 24 hours for you to come back awake. So we were hoping that on Wednesday you would wake up. And that was the day before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Wednesday, they could tell, even though that you had the breathing tube in you, that you were breathing over the tube. So you really weren't needing the breathing tube in order to help you, to breathe. Thursday morning, Thanksgiving morning, your mom had already got to the hospital probably around 7:30 in the morning, and I was there later that night, so I was going to come in around 9, and I got a phone call probably around 8 o'clock from your mom saying that you woke up and that you wanted to see me. So, that you were asking for me. So,
was that really, or did she just say
no, that's what she said. She said, your daughter's been asking for you to come in. She's awake. Okay. So, I got in the car. I'm not even sure if I showered. I got in the car, came over. The nurses were in there.
I was at Salem Hospital, which is about 15 minutes or so from my house.
The nurses were in there. They were doing what they need to do. Your nurse.
When you got there, how was that positioned?
You were inclined in the bed. So you were up. You're sitting up in the bed, but in the bed. So the nurses were having you do all kinds of physical tests. They were, asking. They were asking you to wiggle your toes, to raise your leg. You could do everything.
Oh wow!
Raise your leg, move your knees up a little bit. Wow. They asked you to raise your hands up shoulder height. Then they said hold them like this, and then turn them over up like this. You could not get them palm size up, but you did get them this way.
Wow.
And the nurses were asking you a bunch of different questions.
Was I answering them?
Well, physically, they were asking you to do things, and you were doing turn your head to the left, turn your head to the right.
Because I only remember one thing from this day, which I will tell you afterwards.
And so then, you were trying to speak as much as you can, but because they had just taken the tube out earlier in the morning, you couldn't really get the words out, and you were asking me, whoa.
Yeah, this conversation is the only thing I remember, and then I only remember a couple other things from Salem Hospital.
So you were asking, what, trying to get the word what out, and I had said to you, what happened, and you shook your head, and at which point I said, your heart stopped, and you kind of teared up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you started to try to say, how long? You were ha. And
was I asking how long, or how did it happen?
It was more of a ha. Okay. And I said, how long? And you shook your head yes. And I said, you've been here 4 days.
Oh, wow.
And you started to tear up again. So that was all you really ass that day.
Yeah, that's all I remember that day.
You did try to get out of bed. You tried to pull your leg over. You wanted to come.
Emily doesn't want to stay in the hospital.
You wanted to get out of bed, and we had said, no, you have to stay in here. At that point, the nurses were all like, "This is a miracle." You know, that she recovered. I mean, because we thought there was a good chance you could die or basically be non-responsive for the rest. You know what I'm saying? And to see this happen, they're like, "This is an absolute miracle."
Yeah.
And one of them actually said, they said that she will be moved out of ICU tomorrow to a non-ICU floor, which was Friday. And that she would probably be out of the hospital either Monday or Tuesday of the following week, and that she would, that you would just require some, therapy.
Outpatient therapy.
Well, either in a facility or outpatient. They had said, speech and physical therapy.
Okay.
That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because you took a turn for the worse.
So that's where we're gonna stop this video for now, but hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you can see more videos in the future about what happened to me and continuing on with my story. Thank you for sharing what happened to me, Dad.
Emily, for you anytime.
Bye.